This is Andrew for the Chosen Prime with a video preview of some early test shots from Zeta Toys. This is ZB-01. These test shots are so early we actually don't have any code names, release dates, or price points for these figures. But you can see that this is their take on a Masterpiece style version of the Aerialbot known as Fireflight. And it's by the same design team that did the work for ToyWorld Constructor, which was ToyWorld's Masterpiece Devastator. So you can see that these are very large versions of Fireflight. As far as his overall size here, he's about 8 inches to the top of his head here. And he's a 9 1/4 at the top of the nose cone here. But then when we come to the jet's a full 12 1/2 inches long with a 9-inch wingspan. So this essentially is a Masterpiece Seeker size as far as his jet mode here. So it's a very large, nicely designed version of Fireflight here. Again, these are very early pre-production test shots, plastic, paint, other tolerances might be changed. But let's go and take a closer look here at ZB-01. Taking a closer look here at ZB-01, you can see that he looks like a really nice Masterpiece styled version of G1 Fireflight. His design does seem to mimic the toy version of Fireflight a little bit more than the cartoon, specifically with the face mask here, but that also is the way it was on Firefly and Combiner Wars. But you can see the nice bits of detail. These clear pieces here kind of mimic the G1 stickers a little bit. His legs look nice and, overall look clean. You do have options with the wings that'll show up in just a second. But, very clean. And for a test shot, this is actually pretty stable. It matches the same great kind of engineering that this team did with their Constructor. As far as his articulation, his head here is on a ball joint. So you can look up, look down. Nice bright blue painted eyes. The arms can rotate around. There is a double hinge here in the arm, mostly due to transformation, but you can lift it up and kind of have different options as far as posing it. Does have a bicep swivel. He can bend his elbow a little bit more than 90 degrees. The hands here are actually similar to their Constructor bots in that each of the fingers here are individually jointed and the thumb's got a ball joint. And if we look, there is a peg here in the hand that matches the same style it was on their Constructor bots here, where this gun's got a channel in it. And so you can plug the gun in and you can hold the gun nice and securely like that. He does have a waist swivel that's pretty stiff. Soft ratchet outwards as far as the legs. And if you lift this panel up, you can bring his leg forward and back. Thigh swivel, pretty nice deep thigh swivel. Really strong ratcheted knees. The feet here can pivot. They do have an ankle tilt. And then they can point. As far as his legs here, you can see that his jet mode wings can be stored along with the missiles on each side of the legs if you like. Or if you like, you can unpeg individual missiles. You can unpeg the actual missile platform here to kind of just get a cleaner look that way. Or even go further than that and unpeg this. And if you look, this is actually on a multiple double hinge here, so you can move it around, rotate it, or just flat out remove it. And you get a much cleaner look, a much more animation style look. So if depending on whether you want to keep him stored there on his legs or kind of have him just look a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer here in robot mode, you have those options available to you. As far as overall posability, even being part of an overall combiner, he does have enough joints to get action poses, and they've built him solidly enough that he can hold these types of shots and poses. Very nice range of movement overall here from ZB-01. Just a great overall design here in his robot mode. So let's go ahead and take a look at his transformation into his jet mode. With this being a test shot, I did not get instruction, but his transformation seems fairly intuitive. So we'll do his arms first. So we come up to this panel here, we can lift up on this piece, and it exposes the hollow bits of the arm where the hand fits in. And note that there's a tab here and a tab on the arm that when you close this down, you need to make sure that everything lines up. But for now, we want to lift up on that panel again until it's open up fully like that. Flip the fist around and make sure the hand's curled up, and then push it in, rotate it in so that the fingertips are facing like that. We can take the arm piece here, and you can see how it hinges downwards, kind of collapsing into the arm, and then just make sure that everything lines up with the pieces, and then lock down on the arm. So we'll do the same thing for the other side. Flip open this panel, rotate the fist so that the fingertips will be facing inwards, collapse this part down, and then close it all up. Come to his upper torso here, lift up on these two panels, and then we want to unpeg his chest part from his piece, and there's all kinds of little tabs kind of throughout that kind of keep the chest locked into place. But we want to take the arms and flatten them out, and then this little panel here that normally curves inward or folds inward, we want to flatten it out, and then it actually will tab in to the side of the arm nice and flat like that. So do that on both sides. These little panels that were his shoulders, they'll fold in onto themselves, into the chest, like that. And now we want to take the arm panels here, and you can see there's a double hinge back here, and we want to hinge the arms back into themselves, and it'll close in like that. So just kind of utilize that double hinge to kind of bring that part in. Lock back down the torso, take the head, we'll rotate it around, and come to the backpack back here. The upper jet canopy here will untab. There's some tabs here that are along his back that this holds, the top part holds in securely. And now we can take the back and extend that fully. And this jet canopy part will hinge forward. We can flip these pieces down to kind of be the jet intakes, and it'll all lock down into the front of the jet, and this is the top half ready to go. We'll move this piece up and out of the way for now. And if we look at the legs here, there's this red peg hole where this part of the leg will hinge open. It's a very secure connection. And you see there's the peg hole. And you see where there's the leg is hollow. So take the toe, we want to fold it in, and then the leg will accordion back like it does for a combiner wards. And then make note that there actually is a little channel here on the knee part that when you're coming up here, make sure that that's locked into place for robot mode. But we'll go ahead and hinge it downwards, and it'll fit nice and snug. We want to close this panel back down again, and then this panel will hinge forward, kind of filling in. We'll come to the other leg over here. So untab that panel to open it up, flip the toe in, hinge the leg fully in. And you got to make sure that you hinge it fully so that it snaps. Sandwich the legs together, repeg that together, hinge that little piece forward. Then we can take this entire back part and it'll hinge all the way down the middle. And you may need to split the legs a little bit because it actually will sandwich between some pegs between the two red legs here. And then we want to angle, these pieces will angle down, and there's little tabs, locking tabs at these pieces here. And it's just a matter of kind of just pushing it so that it all locks into place. But once it is locked, it really is locked into place. It's not going to be loose once you get it all lined up. We can push these wings down. And now the actual wings here, we want to flip these out so they're flat. And there is a tab on each side here. So we want to lift this up, and then it'll actually peg in several points and lock this wing into the side if you get it all lined up correctly, like so. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll stretch this out flat, and then just a matter of lining up all these little tabs, hinging this upwards, and then locking all those little tabs in. Then we come to the back here, the tail. Make sure to push it forward to kind of close in that gap. And here we have ZB-01's very cool, very accurate version of the F4 Phantom 2 that the G1 toy version of Fireflight had, just here at this very large Masterpiece scale. You see there's all lots of bits of nice sculpted detail and panel lining like that. There is some nice tampagraphs, like no step and danger. You can see some nice paint details here on the test shot, the yellow and the blue, and just overall very clean jet mode here. Not a whole lot of kibble. You can see where the missiles end up. Just very, very cool. He does have working landing gear. So if we come to the front here, we can flip down this panel, and there's the front landing gear, and then each wing has a landing gear that can pull out on each side. And they do have rolling wheels, so you can have him rolling on the ground. And then finally, his canopy here in the front can also open up to kind of show the cockpit. Very, very cool. Excellent jet mode here from Zeta Toys. So now we'll move on to his arm mode for this figure. So one thing up front, it does not appear that these figures from Zeta Toys are Scramble City, as in they can't be both arms and legs. The ZB-01 right here looks like he's specifically an arm. He's got the mechanism in his chest here for an elbow, unlike ZB-02. And so I think this guy can only be an arm. So, and I also don't have instructions, so I'll try my best to show this up. And I also don't have any combiner parts. I don't have the hand to show off, but I can at least show off how the elbow mechanism works and how he would look like for the most part. So you want to come back to the back of this jet part here, slide this back, bring this forward, split the legs just enough so that we can bring the entire arm forward. Can be a bit tricky. And we can bring these pieces back together. For now, I'm going to take off these wings. I think they actually need to be pegged in lower, and I'll show that in a little bit, but I think they get pegged in at this point for combined mode. But for now, I'm just going to remove them to make the transformation process easier. Take the jet nose cone and untab it, hinge it backwards, and peg it in to its back like you would for robot mode, holding that nice and securely. Come to his arms, pull them to the sides. Unpeg the chest so that we can hinge these outward for now. Get this out of the way, get those arms kind of hinged on those double hinge outward. Flip the head forward, and there you can see the combiner port. It's the same style of combiner port as it is on Constructor that we'll see in a moment. And now we want to take the entire torso and lift up on it. It'll hinge, and see there, we can see there's the elbow mechanism. Next we want to take the head mechanism here, rotate the head around, and then utilizing the double hinge here that's in this chest panel, we want to feed the head through his chest panel here, and then the entire piece down. Now we can take that combiner port and ratchet it forward. And again, you can see it's just like the one that is on Constructor. This kind of squared off ratcheted peg. And then take the arms and sandwich them against the body like we did for jet mode. Just kind of get clearance to kind of hinge this piece inward on both sides. Take the head, fit it between those two pieces, and then now there's this new tab that's here that matches the tab slot on the torso, but this will all lock down into place once we get it all lined up. Take his torso part right here, and we want to rotate it so that it is like this, and then the upper torso is like that. And here to demonstrate, here is how the elbow mechanism for the arm mechanism will work. You can see how it kind of brings out multiple hinges and panels, and it's ratcheted, and you'll be able to rotate it kind of however you like. So take the combiner port, move it to the side. Now we can come and split the tail section here so that we can feed this armature down the middle. And this next little bit's tricky. You want to make sure that this is as flat as possible against the back like that. And now bring this back down, and you should have just enough clearance if you angle it all right to get the backpack kind of underneath like this, peg in the canopy. I recommend coming to these little panels here on the legs and hinging them down. And here is this core arm mode, as best as I can tell. Again, I don't have the hand part. I'm not quite sure what the full transformation is. It looks like there is a port here for whatever mechanism would hold the hand. But overall, really nice large hand here. You can do the same great ratcheting capability out of this piece up here, and you can again spin at the arm here. So it should be a really nice, massive, but solid version of Superion here once we get the final thing. If you'd like, you can take the wings and reattach them at the lower peg here and kind of fold them up, kind of however you like. That is an option for you. You have the same ability to kind of get them set up just like you did for robot mode. Personally, I think they look better with them off. But overall, this is still a really cool looking version of what he would look like in his arm mode here. Nice strong ratchet, just cool overall. So let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons here for ZB-01. Comparing the first two members of Zeta Toys Aerialbots here, we've got ZB-01 and ZB-02. They're Fireflight and Air Raid, and this is with their wings and weapons still attached. And you see that they're the same overall height and build, but enough details and different transformation overall between the two of them that they are unique across the two of them to be the versions of the characters that they are meant to represent. And again, nice, clean, cool looking versions of Masterpiece Aerialbots. And jet mode comparisons between the two. You can see how they look like their G1 selves here in their jet modes, just a much larger, much more authentic Masterpiece scale here. Just large and very impressive, very clean, and just excellent versions of these Masterpiece styled Aerialbots from Zeta Toys. Comparing ZB-01 with some official Masterpiece Autobots, here we've got characters that had appeared in the original episode that Fireflight appeared in. We've got Wheeljack, Ratchet, and MP10 Optimus Prime. You can see that ZB-01 is just slightly smaller than Ratchet, but he is smaller than Prime. But stylistically, this version of Fireflight does look good next to our other official Masterpiece product. He is a good large scale, similar to what he was in the G1 episode. And then when we get the final version of Superion, I think this scale will work out quite well to match up with other Masterpiece Autobots. Comparing ZB-01 with some third-party combiner figures. On the left here we've got ToyWorld Unearthed, which was their version of Scavenger, the Constructicon Scavenger. And on the right here we've got Unique Toys ghaz'ranka, which was their version of Swindle. You can see that these two effort from the same overall design team match scale-wise between the two of them. ZB-02 is just slightly taller than Unearthed, but then there was a bit of variance with all the different Constructicons. But then he is about a head or so taller than the Unique Toys effort here, ghaz'ranka, than this version of the Combaticons. And so you can see how these guys all stack up. Again, more of a Masterpiece styled, larger scale figure that falls more in line with the Constructor bots than other figures like the Unique Toys effort here on the right. Now this may not be an accurate kind of comparison between these two combiners here, considering I'm missing parts of this Superion. I don't have the hand or know how it connects to their version of Silverwolf from Zeta Toys. But here you can see how they kind of stack up between, this is ToyWorld's Unearthed, and then ZB-01. So it's the same connector port. The overall looks like the shoulder part is a little bit shorter overall, but who knows what it's going to look like when we get to the final version of this guy on the right. But it's still going to be a solid build. This is not, the same nice ratcheting that's on present here on Unearthed is here in the ZB-01. So regardless, it's going to be a big version here of Superion to kind of go up to Masterpiece style Devastators like this one. Comparing ZB-01 with the Masterpiece Seeker, here Masterpiece Starscream, you can see how the two of them stack up. Whereas this version of Fireflight is just a hair shorter than Masterpiece Starscream, but build-wise and size-wise, the two stack up very nicely next to each other. Here in their robot modes, and they match up even better once we get to their jet modes. And jet mode comparisons, and here's where you really can see where they've tried to match the Masterpiece Seeker aesthetic here in their jet modes, not only as far as scale, but as far as overall design, just how clean the jet modes match. And scale-wise, how this version of Fireflight stacks up perfectly next to Masterpiece Starscream's jet mode. Comparing ZB-01 here with other versions of Fireflight. On the left, we've got Deluxe Class Combiner Wars Firefly. Here we've got TFC Toys' take on the character. This was Phantom, and of course here is ZB-01. And you can see how they all kind of scale next to each other. And even though this was a nice and impressive effort, first try to kind of give us a nice newer version for Classics collections, that we get posable hands, that we get just a much more solid, just a better looking figure here. On the right from Zeta Toys, it's kind of crazy what kind of advances they've made these past couple years as far as giving us better versions of these characters. I mean, this Zeta Toys effort, it's leaps and bounds above what TFC kind of did with this initial release. And it's really cool to see that we're going to get this nice Masterpiece styled version of Fireflight and the other Aerialbots from Zeta Toys. And jet mode comparisons. You can see the size difference across all three of these guys. It's how massive ZB-01 here is on the right. And just how, you know, overall it just looks better, looks more accurate to the original jet than even the TFC offering, and how truly this version of Fireflight here in the front is a Masterpiece version of this classic G1 Aerialbot. Some final thoughts here for Zeta Toys ZB-01, their take on a Masterpiece styled version of the Aerialbot known as Fireflight. Now again, this is a very early test shot, so a lot of things could change before we get the retail version of this character, from engineering to plastic to paint to accessories, etc. A lot of things could change, but even in this early test shot form, we can see that this is a very solid figure. He matches the look of what you would expect a Masterpiece Aerialbot to look like. He matches the robot mode of other Masterpiece figures. He's got an excellent jet mode, and then that core engineering of his combined arm mode builds off some of the stuff that they've done, the designers did with their ToyWorld's Constructor. And it is our understanding that the group that did do Constructor are the ones doing not only this set, but also the set of Zeta Toys Constructicons. So again, being an early test shot, we unfortunately don't have any pre-orders or an expected release date for this figure. But do keep an eye out on the Chosen Prime website and Facebook pages to see when, if and when this guy comes up and is available for pre-order. Because if you want to build a nice Masterpiece styled Superion, you really can't go wrong here with this set from Zeta Toys. So take care.